Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. And I am going to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 3, Episode 7, WAP, Wanda Ain't Playing. All right, let's talk about Miss Wanda, a fish called Wanda. All right, so the episode starts off with the men outside talking. They're talking to Martell about his marriage, and he's like, yeah, you just never know what God, may have in store. And I'm like, I would love to say it's just never going to happen, but you guys, I'm on the fence. I really kind of feel like Melody would go back at some point. She flirts a lot with him, and I guess that's only natural because of how long they were together, but if she were that mad, she wouldn't be doing all the flirting that she does with him. But again, we have Marceau saying, if you love the girl, don't get a DNA test, and I can't remember his name, but Tiffany's husband is like, well, do you love her? And Martell is like, I love everybody. I love you, and I love you. And Tiffany's husband gonna say, yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. I'm like, he is just so agreeable. And we'll talk about that later, but he is mad agreeable with these guys. Yeah, so basically they're all out there blowing smoke up each other's asses, basically. So in the confessional, Martell says that he just doesn't believe that he and Mel are compatible. Okay, and then he says, in order for us to get back together, I think the Lord would have to come down and touch me personally, as if he's the one who broke it off, as if he's the one who's not still trying to get back in. And of course, I'm not there. We're not there. We don't know for sure, but I don't think she's lying. So Martell is just full of shit. All right, so Wanda's on the inside just blowing things up, and she and Mel still going back and forth about the fact that she's friends with the girl, Ariane. And Mel turns to Kimmy and says, listen, if Maurice was ever doing something, I would not befriend the other woman. And Miss Wanda said, okay, hold up. Let me ask you something, or let me tell you something. She's like, me and you, we not friends. Me and Martell, we not friends. Tisha, that should be your friend, but we not friends. And Mel is like, but you just said you love us. And y'all, Wanda is all over the map with her way of thinking. What she's doing, being friends with this lady, is wrong. It's just wrong. So then Destiny jumps in and says, listen, you are supporting this woman who broke up their marriage. And Wanda says, she didn't break up the marriage. Martell broke up the marriage. And my whole thing is, if you know this, ma'am, why are you telling this lady to stay? Why? Miss Wanda's not stupid, you guys. I feel like, all right, I'm going to reiterate something that Rocks, my girl Rocks on YouTube, she said, and that is that Miss Wanda knows the assignment. She has been given the assignment to come in and be messy, by any means necessary, and that is exactly what she does. She comes in, she's not stupid. This lady knows that Martell is wrong, because why did she and Martell get into it last year? It's because she was all in his face telling him how wrong he was doing Mel, and now you flipping it? Yeah, it's all for storyline purposes, and she's just doing, she's making good TV, and she does. So a lot of people dislike her and everything. I don't dislike her. I feel like she's doing her job, basically. Now, is she irritating and annoying and does a little bit too much? Absolutely. However, she does exactly what they want her to do. This lady knows good and well that Martell is the reason for all of this. So while she's in here browbeating Mel, all for TV. Wait, so now she's telling Destiny she has low self-esteem. No, she's not saying esteem. She's saying esteem. You have low self-esteem. And she just kept saying it over and over. And I'm like, lady, stop. But she's saying that, if you guys have an issue because I think this girl is pretty and I say that, then you have low self-esteem. And Destiny gets up. I don't have low self-esteem. And no, it's not about low self-esteem. It's about right and wrong. So Destiny stands up. She's flicking her hair. She's being super extra. And in the confessional, she says, listen, I know me and Melody having our issues or had our issues, but I'm not going to sit here and let Miss Wanda just kind of dog her out or, do her any kind of way. And she's full on defending Mel. Mel is not even really paying attention to them. So she's not taking in the fact that Destiny is having her back. So Destiny's full on in Miss Wanda's face. She's clapping. She's doing the whole thing. And I ain't mad because Miss Wanda, if you can give it, you got to be able to take it, ma'am. So now back outside, Marceau asks Martell, is it a hot boy summer? And Maurice is like, are you kidding me? Look, he gained 20 pounds in muscle. Of course, a hot boy summer. But right away, Martell says, yeah, it's always a hot boy summer. And I'm like, that's the problem. It was a hot boy summer every year that you was married. Like, it's always been a hot boy summer. And you're for the streets. So you could have at least attempted to act like you didn't want it to be a hot boy summer, like something. But Martell is trash. We all know that. So then they're talking about how a couple of them are on their second marriages, and Marceau says he would never get married again. So they asked Marceau, well, what are you going to do? Just, go to Bahamas every summer with Speedos on or whatever? Like, what you going to do? And he's like, no, I have no plan B. There's no other option. I'm just going to stay married. But it was very telling that Maurice was like, yeah, you don't value marriage and family. And I was like, damn, that's your brother? Say you don't value marriage and family? And he looked dead ass. So, and then like even Martell caught it and he started laughing like, dang, he don't value family at all. I don't know if that's true or not. I just think he's a caveman. But, hopefully they work out and he doesn't have to worry about getting married again, because it will break Tisha's heart if something happened with them. So I'm all for the women, even though Tisha drives us crazy. I'm with the women. So if she wants her man, she likes it, I love it. Hopefully Marceau is doing well and doing right and they stay together. So back inside with Wanda, Mel is telling the girls, listen, if your man ever cheats and I know who the other woman is, you don't ever have to worry about me befriending them. And she better hope that I don't end up punching her, if I see her in person or whatever. And then just out of nowhere, Wanda says, while she's drinking her drink and doing a laugh, I think Miss Wanda done had a few cocktails, but she's like, I can see you and Martell getting back together. And Mel is like, well, you must be Jesus. And she started laughing. I done been Jesusified a long time ago or something like that. And I'm like, Jesusified? What does that mean? But Mel says, you know what? You are just like those older women who constantly tell younger women to stay in a toxic situation, because she was saying that it was killing her on the inside. And, Miss Wanda's like, killing you? How is it killing you? And I'm like, girl, do you not understand? And the bad part, again, is that I do think Miss Wanda understands, because she then goes into the fact that, if it was 1 year cheating or whatever, she can understand. And I'm like, you can? You can understand a year of cheating? Because I don't even understand a year of cheating. Yeah, so then we get into Melody just kind of explaining her situation and the fact that it was going on for 2 years. She didn't know about it. Then it was on and off for 3 years and this and that. And I'm like, this lady does not deserve an explanation. Like, I would not be explaining to her. She doesn't need to know the business. She already thinks she knows everything. So let her know what she knows and let her not know anything else, because this lady don't need to know. So in the confession of Miss Wanda says, yeah, Melody has been knowing about it the whole 6 years. I'm not even going to say 5. And she said, so that makes them sister wives. So just go ahead and be a happy family. She's ridiculous. And I think that comment is ridiculous. Like, if I were Mel, after seeing what she's saying in the confessionals and everything, I wouldn't have anything to do with this lady, because she's ridiculous. So then she's going on, and Melody, back out of the confessional, back at the bar, Melody starts going off because she asks if they were friends. And Melody says, not while this was going on. And I'm like, what does that mean? Did y'all used to be friends? Did y'all, like, I don't know. But she starts going off. She's not that type of girl, and she don't have anything to do with this girl. So the scene ends with Destiny walking out with Mel, because Mel is like going crazy. She's in the confessional talking about how Miss Wanda needs to get a life and get some business and stay out of hers. And I just think it's interesting that Destiny, number one, was defending her, and number two, walked out with her as soon as she saw that she was upset or whatever. She followed her because, what's her name? Mel definitely did not get up and follow Destiny to the bathroom when she was upset at her birthday brunch. So, Mel, and then she's talking about how she's so loyal. Are you really? So she's leaving, and she's still going off, and she's loud, and everybody outside can tell she's upset. Marceau's trying to give her a hug, and she's saying, listen, black is amazing, the wine is amazing. He's like, come here. She's like, I don't need no hug. He's like, really? Yeah, it's just a lot, but it is what it is. Then we have Wanda and Kimmy on the inside, and here we go, still Wanda. Miss Wanda's in there telling Kimmy how she would have gave Tisha the blues if it were her, and they run up behind Melody, and she tells her she don't ever see her saying nothing to Melody. And of course, Kimmy is coming back at her. Like, Kimmy don't back down to Miss Wanda at all. She lets her know exactly what she's thinking, and so they're kind of going back and forth. So Miss Wanda's saying how, Melody has sat there and made Tisha cry, and she's like, and so have you. And Kimmy's like, I don't give a ass what you think about me, doing something to somebody that has also been done to me. And she's just like, listen, do you think you have the market cornered on people getting their feelings hurt? Like, people are going to get their feelings hurt, including your daughter. And so in the confessional, she says, listen, it's clear that Miss Wanda only cares about her and Tisha, and everybody else can just fuck off. And basically that's how it is. So Miss Wanda said that she saw, she has an issue with the fact that Kimmy made a statement about her daughter. And Kimmy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. The only thing I've ever said is that Letitia requires more of me than what she's willing to give, basically. And she says, I don't think she requires anything of you. And she's like, yeah, okay. So then they start going back and forth with, well, you said something on social media. She says, no, I didn't say anything on social media. It's just back and forth banter as usual. So Kimmy lets her know that, listen, all I hear is Tisha saying stuff, you saying stuff, and Kimmy just sits there. She's like, she has never had a good Kimmy lashing out or anything because I know she's sensitive. So basically she don't really get into Tisha because she knows it's gonna really hurt her feelings. However, Tisha said stuff about her mom said stuff about Kimmy, and she don't say nothing. But I think at this point she's just fed up the way she's talking to her, and then they go back and forth forever with, tell me what you've seen on social media. I ain't gotta tell you, tell me what you seen. Like, that lasts for 5 minutes. It was way too long. So finally, after a billion years of going back and forth, Kimmy says, either tell me what you're talking about, give me an example. Miss Wanda says she doesn't store anything in her head. I said, Lord, this lady don't be knowing what she's saying. Kimmy says, she hits on the table and she says, if you can't tell me, then we're done shut up talking to me about it or whatever. It wasn't, she didn't tell her to shut up. She said, let's shut up talking about it or whatever. It wasn't they were both just being disrespectful, basically going back and forth, but it is what it is. So then, just out of nowhere, Miss Wanda stops. She's like a dog that's chasing you or whatever, and then just automatically stops. And she goes, yeah, so, I come in, I say what I have to say, and then I have to shake a bone. And she exits stage left. And I'm like, that is because she is working, you guys. She came in, she did her job, and now it's time for her to go. It's so clear. So we have Melody in the studio doing her little songs or whatever, and then she's in the confessional saying, Martell thinks all my songs are about him, but they're not. She has writers who go through things and they add that in there, and I'm like, girl, all your songs are saying you cheated on me for 5 years with Ariana. Like, she may as well have just said exactly what was going on, because all of your songs are about him, ma'am. Just own it, and listen, it's your lemonade. Just say it's your lemonade and move on. But she's claiming that these songs are not about Martell, although everything has something to do with a side piece. Okay. So then Destiny comes in while she's in the studio, talking about, I think you're so cool. My friends be roasting you. And she's singing along with it. And I thought it was very cute. The fact that she knows her little song or whatever. I don't know. I'm just kind of getting feelings like Destiny. I would love to say Destiny is a better friend to Mel than she is to her, but I do think it's kind of iffy the fact that Destiny never shared the fact that she was getting a divorce with Mel. I don't know how I feel about their relationship, but anyway, Destiny is there and they go sit down to talk. Alright, so they're sitting down talking. Again, Melody is saying how, everybody's telling her to just get over it, and you can't tell her when to heal and when to get over it. And I'm like, girl, do you capitalize off of this situation as much as you can? Who cares? You deserve, okay? So then they start talking about Miss Wanda, and Melody says she had time yesterday, but she normally don't even really engage her like that. So she says, listen, I just hope that when she goes back to tell Tisha what happened, she don't pretty much put 20 on 10 and, make it worse because we were just getting back into a decent place. So Tiffany says, yeah, but what happened? Not Tiffany. Destiny says, yeah, but what happened with Tiffany? And I'm like, you gotta go ahead and get to the business that you want to know, ma'am. So Mel is telling her that it's about the whole thing that happened at her brunch with, talking about monster vaping. And the whole time she's talking, Destiny has a smile on her face, like, because Melody's saying, yeah, they felt like she shouldn't have brought it up, this and that. And Destiny, she understands and she actually agrees. So she has this little smirk on her face. And she started talking about sidebars, and she really wished that, Melody would have had a sidebar with her. And Melody just keeps bringing up the fact that she thinks it's because Kimmy didn't know. You guys, I do think that that's a big deal that Kimmy didn't know. I'm not sure if I said it in any of the past reviews. It is huge that he didn't tell her. It was rude. It was wrong. She was blindsided. I get it. However, I still don't think there's a good time ever to walk up to somebody that you don't really know and just be like, hey, how are you? Oh, yeah, remember when your son got in trouble at school? Like, what the fuck? When is that okay to say? Why is that your business? Why is that something that you want to bring up in conversation anyway? It, Tiffany is just not wrong. Like, she's just wrong all across the board. There's no good time to bring that up because it's none of your goddamn business. Don't bring up what my kid has done. It's none of your business, period. I don't care if Kimmy knew, didn't know, I don't care. But Melody's always trying to shoot this girl bail and, make excuses for her, and it's not okay. Oh, and y'all, I don't wear eyeshadow and all of that, but Destiny's a pretty girl, and she has one that's green in the confessional, but her green eyeshadow is just all over her eyes. Like, it just goes all the way up to her freaking eyebrows, and I'm not sure that that's how it goes. I don't know. Like, my niece Lolo, my Lauren, she does makeup and everything, and I don't think I've ever seen her green and stuff go quite. It's just all over the place, you guys. So Destiny says, yeah, she was all upset and crying. And I was like, oh my God, trying to console her. Fuck out of here, Destiny. Fuck out of here, okay? Because no, you were just trying to know the business. You was just trying to be all in it. Because there's no way I have an issue with you thinking you brought some cold tea about my marriage, and then all of a sudden I care that you cried. I don't give a shit about Tiffany crying. Don't. And I don't believe that dang it, Destiny does either. She don't care. So Mel says, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. She's really sensitive and everything and really sweet, and she's not messy. And then Destiny says, well, she just seemed very comfortable. And we're looking at her like, we don't know you like that yet. And then Mel says, yeah, she opens up easily. And I'm like, yeah, she opens up her big mouth easily. Destiny says, yeah, and it comes off like she cannot read a room, basically. And Mel is like, yeah. So Mel says, yeah, that could be. And then she says she was just really upset because she hurt their feelings. And Destiny's like, she ain't cried what she did to me. And then Mel says, because you came at her differently. And she basically tells Destiny that she came at her aggressively. And she's like, I didn't come at her aggressively. We do the flashback. She didn't come at her aggressively. Then she says, well, yeah, because when we were on the couch, you came at me aggressively. Do the flashback, she didn't come at Mel aggressively. They were both going back and forth, being a little rude, a little, short with each other and everything, but she didn't initially come at her aggressively. So I don't know what Mel is talking about. Mel is on some shit this season, you guys. She really is. You guys, then we have Tiffany and her husband outside doing the gardening, and she is mowing the lawn on a sit-down mower with no shoes on, just bare feet, looking a hot-ass mess. Also, what looks a hot-ass mess? The grass, or lack thereof, because he's back there trimming weeds, and it was nothing but dirt. I'm like, what's he doing? What is he doing? What is she doing? Girl, if you don't get off that lawnmower and leave that grass alone, let it grow. Like, you should be out there putting some... Let me shut up before something happened to my grass. Y'all, let me shut up. But anyway, she's saying how she's so happy her husband was there with her, because when she feels attacked or kind of, bombarded, she's a recluse. And my whole thing is, you were not bombarded, you were not attacked. You only became recluse because you were being called on your shit. Like, basically, they were calling you out, and you wasn't expecting that. But when you're bringing the shit, then you're fine, right? You're prepared, and you're fine with it. This lady is so messy, y'all. I just don't like her. Just don't like her. So she's saying how she felt blindsided because through the door, as soon as they walked in, they wanted to talk real quick. And it's true. Like, Maurice was stalking them out. As soon as they walked through the door, he was like, hey, over here, over here. But I ain't mad at it because, girl, stand in your shit. You did it, so stand in it. Yeah, so basically she's saying that's the problem she had with it because she felt blindsided. Whatever. So her husband says, yeah, I was headed to the bar to get a shot. And he's like, can we talk? Nah, let me get a shot first. I'm glad that shot didn't happen. And I'm like, yeah, and you didn't say, nah, let me get a shot first. Like, these two are full of shit. Like, they belong together because he's doing big talking. But when I said he was outside with those men being mad agreeable, he really was. And when he was sitting there talking to Maurice and them, he was being mad agreeable. He was so humble. He was so, oh my God, we apologize. We absolutely apologize. I actually gave him kudos for being a man and just owning it and being like, our bad, we're done, instead of making more out of it. Now he's trying to claim that if he had a drink, it would have been different. No, sir. No, sir. Tell that to somebody else. Y'all both full of it. So Tiffany says Maurice was being real aggressive, and I just think that he's mad that I didn't say anything to him. Basically saying because Mel told her in the bathroom that Kimmy didn't know, and she thinks that's why they're making a bigger deal of it. Again, that could be part of it. However, there's never a good time for you to discuss what somebody's kid is doing and when they got in trouble. Like, why would you ever have to come to Maurice or Kimmy and be like, remember when your son got in trouble for vaping? Like, when is that ever appropriate? It's not. Leave people's kids out of it. Just shut your face. She starts getting into how she doesn't think it's fair, that they don't communicate, and that he didn't tell Kimmy, and none of that is your business. None. So in the confessional, they're talking about how this is their second marriage, and they communicate. They're very transparent, and I'm like, yeah, let's see about that in like a year or two when he's in the blogs for cheating, if someone will have him. But yeah, they just get on my nerves. And then he says, well, if they're not talking about this, just can you imagine all the other things that's not being said? And I'm just like, none of your business. Again, none of your business. So I can't wait for the reunion for this little scene to come up. I cannot wait. So she's talking about how they had already talked about it, and then Kaiwa came over, Maurice's mom, Monster's mom, and wanted to hear the whole thing over again. Yeah, bitch, say what you said. I'm sorry, I'm the mom. Say what you said. Say it again. So I'm not mad at anything that Maurice, Kaiwa, and Kimmy did to them. I'm not. But then her dude is talking mad stuff like, yeah, nobody was killed, nobody was shot, it was just an issue. Say what you had to say and move on. Don't beat a dead horse. Where was any of this energy the night of? Where was it? Guy. I can't remember his name. I don't care enough to, well, I'll remember it later. But yeah, he had none of this energy when they were face to face. I don't like people like that. And I'm going to tell you what, if I'm dating somebody and I see that or whatever, it's a turn off. I'm sorry, you weren't doing any of this talking while we were in the situation. But luckily I can say I've never been in a situation like this. And I've never been in a situation where I had a man that I actually thought was a punk. Because, he was punking up in front of people, but behind the scenes was doing mad talking. So, again, they were made for each other. All right, y'all, this review is running a little long because apparently I'm giving a whole lot of opinions. I'm giving more opinions than the actual story, but it is what it is at this point. I don't care. So now we have Martell. He's meeting with his business partner. And his business partner is not bad looking. I don't agree with the cowboy boots, one, pant leg in, one out. Like, what the hell are you doing there? Martell is talking about how it's, new for him to put these boots back on because he hasn't been at work for so long. And my whole thing is, it's so interesting to see who, was doing okay after the whole breakup. And I think it's Martell's karma. I'm sorry, you did everything, so yeah, you kind of lose. And the fact that Marceau wanted Melody to be a brand ambassador for the black the chocolate wine or whatever is very telling. No one wants Martell's name attached to anything, and I think it had a whole lot to do with him doing the interviews. I mean, yeah, he did some terrible shit to her, but nothing no more than anyone else or some other, other people have done this in life, so it doesn't make him the worst guy in the world. I just think he made the situation even worse when he went doing all of these interviews sounding a hot mess. Like, he just sounded so crazy, and then nobody wanted to be attached to him. Y'all, there I go again, giving my opinion. So, like, I'm just prolonging the crap out of this. So let me just kind of say exactly what this scene was. This scene was the guy that he's working with saying, listen, why didn't you get your license? And he's saying that, listen, we were married. I took the test. I failed. She passed it. It is what it is. We were married, so I figured that was good enough. As long as one of us has it, we're good. And he learned his lesson now. So the guy is just telling him, listen, even though we're working together and I have it, you still need to get it because, it's your life. Like, you have to be responsible for your own life and what's going on and everything. So fine, he gave him really good advice. That was very nice. We move on. Oh wait, he also went into how his friend Chris, kind of betrayed him and went behind his back and asked for Melody, and he's the one that brought him in, brought the developers and everything. So basically, Martell is just butthurt over that whole situation and ended up getting back at them by going behind their backs, going to the developer, and being able to also build on the lot. So now we have Miss Wanda pulling up at Tisha's house. They're out back on the balcony, on the deck, and it's so funny. They got this like scary music going, doom doom, doom doom, and you can see Marceau looking through the blind. It's like he is not trying to go out there. I find it interesting that Tisha tells her mom, listen, I would go get some of that black wine or whatever, but no, you don't know how to behave, you don't know how to act, and Marceau is here. I'm like, so Miss Wanda do be indulging a lot. So Miss Wanda says she just came to tell her about her friends, and she was there trying to get Martell and Melody back together. Tisha said, why do you think that you the one that's supposed to get them back together? Why are you trying to do that? She says, because they just be arguing and doing so much on social media, girl. This fool says, yeah, I told her, get off social media and get back with your man, because being on social media throwing salt is not the way to get back at him. The way to get back at him is to get with him. Like, she doesn't want to get with him. That's the whole problem. What are you talking about? Tisha said, obviously, she don't want to be with him no more. Like, leave it alone. This lady then lies and said, then all the other girls want to jump on me. And I'm like, ma'am, you were in there windmilling all these girls by yourself. You was picking them off one at a time. What are you talking about? And she say they're in there talking about me because I was telling the girl she beautiful, and she says, telling what girl she's beautiful? The girl that Martell had the baby by. Lord, this lady cannot speak. And Tisha just says, listen, I don't care. She could be the most beautiful girl in the world, but what you're doing is inappropriate. It's disrespectful, basically. And I'm like, go ahead, Tisha. Finally speak up to your mom. Go ahead. So she says, yeah, Melody got all upset and ran out. You know how she do. And she's saying, Destiny got up and ran off behind her. And I said, do Melody got the bananas? Because you running up behind her like a little monkey. And I was like, what the fuck's wrong with this lady, for real? And Tisha says, you got to lay off Destiny. She's cool for real. I'm just like, this is the whole thing, you guys, with this summed up. You know how when you have a guy and you tell your family all the wrong things that he's done, so they stop liking him, but then suddenly you get back with him and you're like, no, like him again, and it's impossible. That's kind of what is happening with Miss Wanda. She's on a mission, number one, but number two, it's like Tisha is switching up on her. Tisha, whatever. She's switching up on her because she's friends with them now. So now it's like, when I need you to be my mouthpiece or whatever, and I tell you everything that they've done wrong, and it's fine that you will go after them when I don't like them. But now that I like them again, I need you to stop and like them again. And it just doesn't work like that. Not to mention the fact, again, that, Miss Wanda's here working. And she then says that Kimmy starts banging on the table and telling her to shut up. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. I mean, that's not what happened. And Tisha says, who said that? And she says, Kimmy. And she says, well, that's not okay. So Tisha tells her, listen, I'm friends with them now, so it's good. I'm not mad at them. Don't fight with them on behalf of me. It's all good. And Wanda says, Kimmy gonna lose a lot of things, starting with her front teeth. And Tisha's like, listen, you can't run around fighting. You too old to be fighting. And I'm like, this lady is out of control. So Tisha says, listen, I have to make sure that you didn't say something out the way to make her feel like she needed to say that to you. And Wanda says she always taking up for mail. Tisha said that's okay. Like you got to get over that. So Tisha tells her mom, listen, you like to argue. I don't like to argue. So just stop arguing on my behalf. And Wanda says, I don't like to argue. I like to throw rocks. I'm like, yeah, and run. Your old ass ain't gonna do nothing. You like to throw a rock and run. So in the confessional, she's saying how she just wants her mom to let it go and let her fight her own battle. She's not a little girl. She's not 14. She got it. And I'm like, it's good to finally hear her saying this stuff, but it's, again, just interesting that it's now that she's friends with them and she wants to, dead the situation or whatever. Now she wants Wanda to shut her face. Well, she probably wanted Wanda to shut her face a long time ago because Wanda really needs to shut her face. So then she wants to bring up how Marceau took Melody a bottle of wine. And they show how it came up, and she's like, damn, you took her a bottle of wine, you ain't take nobody else none. He says, I was talking to her about being a brand ambassador. Martell just says, okay, right away, because it's not a big deal. It makes sense. And she's telling Tisha that, or Tisha, whatever. She's telling her that, when I heard that, I just wanted to knock him out. And I'm like, this lady does too much. She really does. She goes too far. It's one thing to make good TV. It's another thing to just be going way too far. And she goes way too far. So Wanda says, yeah, he told me that you knew about it, so it's fine. And she says, yeah, he told me he wanted to have Mel be a brand ambassador, but he ain't say nothing about giving her the wine or the champagne, so we gonna have to talk about that. She's like, but the thing is, I'm not insecure, so I'm not worried about that. Miss Wanda's like, girl, you better than me. And I'm just like, it's women like that be in your ear, that have you doubting every little thing, messing up your whole relationship. You gotta watch that. So out comes Marceau, and he gives Tisha, y'all, here's the thing. I have an old hairstylist, and her name is Tisha, and people call her Tish. Like, they go back and forth. So I'm kind of doing that with Tish or whatever, Tish, whatever. But that's what it is. So I'm sorry. I know it's Letitia, I think. Letitia. I don't know. But whatever it is, y'all know who I'm talking about. But Marceau comes out, he gives her a kiss. He's like, what's wrong? And then he says, thank you for not inviting her in the house. And I'm like, Lord. So he goes and gives her a little side hug. Wanda, he's like, how you doing, Mom? And you can tell that he really want to touch her. And then Tisha says, what was that side hug? And he's like, Tisha, dang, can I just do anything? Y'all always worry about every little thing I do. Y'all, here's the funny part. Marceau is a caveman. He is. And he says some problematic things, does some problematic things. However, I think he's funny. I think his nonchalant attitude is hilarious because it's giving me. Like, when I tell you guys, I don't care enough to talk about this, I didn't want to learn his name. Like, he's giving nonchalant, and I ain't mad at it. So Miss Wanda says, that's okay. I'm not Melody, so I don't get the hug like this. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not Melody. You don't get the hug like that. So while they're going back and forth, Tisha's trying to say, listen, these jokes are not funny, so we're going to stop. She's telling her mom, you're being disrespectful. So Tisha's going down. She's giving him the rundown of what her mom said, that, he took Melody's bottle of wine or whatever. And Miss Wanda's like, tell the truth. Tell the truth. He looks at her and says, I think you're a walking day drunk. God, when I tell you I died because I was not expecting that. He is so stupid. And when I tell you he did not smile at all, and it's probably true. Who says that to their mother-in-law? Miss Wanda said, don't say that. So Tisha asks, did you meet up with her and give her the wine? He starts laughing and says, I don't recall. She says, you better recall. And of course, Miss Wanda just talking mad shit or whatever. That's what almost got you knocked out that chair. He says, okay, listen, what happens if I did? Like, what exactly happens if I did? So then Tisha's saying, just answer the question. He's like, I'm not going to answer the question. And she's like, no, you better answer the question. And he's like, I'm not answering that question. This lady grabs his face and turns it towards him. And he's like, what are you doing? And I think he handled it well because he did not like reaction. would just kind of go off and, like you gonna flinch away and be like, fuck is going on? Like reaction would have caught her if it were me. Or, I mean, thankfully though, he's a man, so no reaction. But, and I'm not saying hit her or whatever, I'm just saying you like push away and just be like, what the heck are you doing? And it just gets a little volatile. So the fact that she grabbed his face was not cool. It wasn't cool at all. But I do think that he was like, you done lost all of your mind. But he was very calm with it. Tisha, what are you doing? And, as he's trying to pry her hands off of his chin. So she says, listen, they said that you met her somewhere or whatever and gave her the bottle. And he's like, who is they? And she says, your mom and Martell. And he says, Martell told you that? She says, no, Martell told her that. And he looks at her and says, looks at Wanda and says, your mama's a known liar. So in the confessional, he says he's tired of having to prove stuff to Tisha. He's like, if she don't know him by now after 15 years, then she'll never know him. And I'm like, he gonna make me have to go listen to a little Patti LaBelle, because that's a jam, yo. Yeah, and then she proceeds to just do way too much in front of these cameras and her mama. I asked you a direct question. I expect a direct answer. And you're lying to me and this and that. And I'm like, Tisha, you are making a fool of yourself. You really are. Like, you need to just slow down and stop, because all this that you're doing is just unwarranted, and you know how your mom is, so why are you giving all this energy? So he says again, he's not answering that. He says if somebody can come and feed stuff to my wife and she accepts it, then that's a problem, and I'm not answering that. I'm not feeding into that. And he says, especially dumbass questions like that. So Wanda says, oh, it was dumb? And he says, you knew it was dumb when you said it. Y'all, I would get such a kick out of Marcel, I swear to God. So he says, you really think I'm trying to push up on Mel? She says, no. And Miss Wanda says, you might be Mel and everybody else. And then Tisha starts yelling, why would you say that? Why would you say that? And then she comes up, Miss Wanda, with the baby situation. You really got a baby out there? He's like, I might. This little tells her, you a grandmama. You a side grandmama. When I tell you, I cannot with him. That shit is hilarious to me. So Wanda tells Marcel, your mama's a side grandmama. And then Tisha just had enough. She put her foot down, and y'all, I was like, you better go. She just goes off and lets her know, listen, everything that you're doing right now is disrespectful. You're disrespecting my house, your grandkids, and everything, and you don't play with people's marriages. She says, I have two daughters that look up to me, and I'm not about to play with these rumors about my husband. I'm not going to do it. And basically, you're not going to do it. So stop playing with people's marriages, because it's not cool. But as she's going off, you can tell she's just a super sensitive type, where she sounded like she was about to cry. So Marcel tells Wanda, listen, if you think somebody better is out there, there's somebody better out there for her, then go find them. I don't need to find them. She needs to find them. And he's like, listen. She's like, but if she loves you and she thinks you're the best, then, fine. And he's like, then shut up. And she's like, you shut the fuck up. And I'm like, he didn't tell you to shut the fuck up, lady. So, yeah, they go back and forth or whatever some more, and Tisha's just over it, so she goes in the house.